Russian-backed separatists continue to attack Ukrainian forces despite a recent ceasefire agreement. The Ukrainian ambassador to the United States offered this bleak assessment in a Fox News interview.
My country is in a war with Russia. It is not an internal conflict in Ukraine. It is not a civil war. It is a direct aggression of Russia and Russia-backed terrorists.
Joining us now, Mikheil Saakashvili. He is the former president of Georgia from 2004 to 2013, recently appointed by the Ukrainian President Poroshenko to become chairman of the government's Advisory International Council of Reforms. Great to see you, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me, Lou.
This looks to me, and I think talking with General Jack Keane and others, to be extraordinarily a bleak moment for Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. They are basically at the mercy of Vladimir Putin here, are they not?
I think it's a bleak moment not only for Ukraine, but indeed for Europe and also for the United States. Well, the United States has won 3 world wars in Europe, including the Cold War. And now this country, also the United States, is about to lose and some of the gains it had, and Russia is going to reverse what it had lost as a Soviet Empire in Cold War. And this is happening on the watch of this generation. This is incredibly dramatic and tragic situation, which has been getting lots of attention, but not quite enough of a reaction. And I think that's the lack of reaction or adequate reaction that's basically causing all these tragedies.
You and I have talked, and I've listened to your theories on soft power, smart power over the course of years. I do not understand at this point why there has been an inability on the part of the Ukrainian government to engage Germany, France, the United States, the United Kingdom, and to bring forward a commitment to defend the country against clear, outright aggression.
Well, because there has been lots of wishful thinking in the West, and they've been saying, well, we are living in 21st century, Cold War is over, Russian tanks will never roll into Europe, and here we are in 2015, and the Russian tanks are rolling deep into Europe, into the largest country of Europe, unchecked. And actually, the weakness invites war, and the weapons, there are lots of moments when weapons can only be stopped by weapons, not just by mere diplomacy. It will, of course, require also diplomacy after that, not just only by sanctions. Sanctions do work, but they need time before they really accomplish the results. But you really need to supply them with weapons and with anti-tank weapons. You know, tanks are rolling forward with the radars, exact radars, so that they know from which place they're fired at. They need UVs to see exactly how these columns are infiltrating this country. Mm-hmm. And you need lots of other stuff, precision stuff, and it brings back the memories of Afghanistan. It's deja vu for me. You know, in Afghanistan there were low oil prices. Soviet Union was losing on economic front, but it was really took Ronald Reagan and Charlie Wilson that to supply Afghan rebels with manpads that really put an end to the Soviet Empire. I remember the Soviet Union. I remember how it happened, and for me that's very much similar scenario, but it might be a different outcome this time.
A different outcome because, straightforwardly, Putin has his forces arrayed in such a manner that they will maintain superiority irrespective of what NATO and the United States were to do, at least in the short term. The United States can't even make a move to move forward multiple rocket launchers, MLRS systems. Already Putin has that counterforce in place. He has a significant advantage, as you know, in armor. He has troops that are in position that could move at the slightest suggestion of a reaction by NATO. What is the next step for NATO? Those who are concerned about NATO, about Ukraine's territorial integrity, its sovereignty, and its people.
Let us make no mistake. NATO and the United States have vast superiority over NATO. It's over Russia. It's just a matter of political will. My office is just above the office of President Poroshenko, and we talk almost every day. But I also know that almost every day he's being called by Chancellor Merkel, by President Obama. There is lots of diplomacy and lots of other world leaders, lots of diplomacy around, but there is not enough help here. The help is not coming. And when help is not coming, you know, just half measures, just diplomatic diplomatic gestures, those nice telephone conversations are not going to do the trick. The thing is that Ukrainian soldiers are really fighting very bravely because they're fighting for freedom. They're fighting, make no mistake, this is not war about territory. This is not war about just, this or that railway juncture. This is war about values. Whether in 21st century countries can live in normal, democratic, open societies with rule of law, or they are forever doomed to be in kind of corrupt dictatorship, like Russia is and like some other places around the world. So the idea is that because it's the values of the West that Ukrainians are defending with their own lives, it's also up to the West to defend those values. West Berlin was defended when Stalin wanted to take over. It's a tiny place. You cannot compare it with Ukraine. It was much less defendable than Ukraine. West Berlin was defended when Stalin wanted to grab it. It was defended through the Cold War, and then it was turned into a showcase for reforms. And that's what we want to achieve in Ukraine. We want to do real reforms, real changes, really crack down on corruption, really make that country to function efficiently, but make it performing free society. But for that, you need a protection, physical protection, and we need this West Berlin model that only the United States can do through its very resolute actions. I saw American hero John McCain saying he's ashamed of his country. I've never heard him saying that before. Well, I'm proud of John, with whom I'm friend, and I'm proud of many Americans. Simply, Americans have to act now. I'm still sure that this is the best country in the world and in position to act in the right way and the right direction.
Well, to be clear, I'm not proud of Senator McCain for saying that he's ashamed of this country.
No, I'm not saying that.
But
I'm proud that he's trying to help. He's trying to help.
Let me finish,
he's trying to help.
if I may. He may be trying to help, but he's been trying for some months without success. And we need to get to the issue of what happens next, because it is pretty clear the limited options available to both the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian government. Where can they turn? What is the likelihood? How can you stop Russia from moving into the Balkans, taking on any other territory that they would wish in the region?
Well, Putin will not stop until he is stopped, and he will stop where he is stopped. And again, what can be done is that the Ukrainians will continue to do, to put up more resistance, to reform the army, to reform the country, to create other models. But again, they are looking at the United States, which is for all of us a beacon of democracy, beacon of freedom, beacon, everything that we stand for. And I think we are looking at the United States, we are looking at the President of the United States and this administration to back up, their diplomacy, which has, they've done a very good job. We have to give them credit for mobilizing people in Europe for sanctions. But now something more is needed than sanctions, and these are defensive weapons. Ukrainians cannot attack Russians with anti-tank weapons. They cannot invade Russia with anti-artillery radars or UVs, but they can at least check their further advance. And
how much time does the United States have to come to its senses? How much time does NATO have to come to its senses?
Well, I think time is very short. I think there will be a very short, even if there is a short break. Putin wants to take whole south of Ukraine, go all the way to Moldova, then to organize something like a coup in Kiev or really major, disturbances. Right. And of course, he's looking at Baltic countries because he wants to kill NATO, because his ultimate goal is the United States, and the United States certainly has to react to that.
Mikheil, it's always good to talk with you, and always
instructive.
Thanks, Mikheil Saakashvili.